الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا أول مظلوم. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When the commander of the faithful passed from this world, his son, Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba alayhi salam, came out to address the masses. There were, as you know, many people who had gathered outside the tiny, humble mud hut home of Amir al-Mu'mineen. There were many orphans who had lined up, each one holding a cup of milk, because they had heard there was a rumor going around that milk may help relieve Ali of his pain. With Ali's passing, it wasn't just his family that was orphaned, and it wasn't just those orphans of Kufa that felt lonely. We all became orphans. Didn't the Holy Messenger of God say, Ya Ali, ana wa ant abawa hadhihi al-ummah? O Ali, you and I are the fathers of this nation. And tonight, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, we all feel orphaned again with Ali's passing. And so there were many people that had gathered to get news, to receive updates, to know if their master, if their Imam was feeling a little bit better. So Imam al-Hasan came out to address them. Traditions tell us that he started to speak, but he was unable to do so because he felt suffocated with tears. فَخَنَقَتْهُ الْعَبْرَةُ. So the Imam then sat down on the ground for a short while. Then he got up and he said, قُبِضَ الْيَوْمُ رَجُلٌ لَمْ يَسْبِقْهُ الْأَوَّلُونَ وَلَا يَلْحَقُهُ الْآخِرُونَ. Today a man left this world who could never be caught by any of those that preceded him. No one could compete with Ali, whether before or those who came after him. He was unique. Ali was superior to everyone and anyone except his brother Rasulullah. قُبِضَ فِي اللَّيْلَةِ الَّتِي رُفِعَ فِيهَا عِيسَى. Imam al-Hasan said that Ali ibn Abi Talib was taken to the heavens on the same night that Jesus ascended to the heavens. This did not happen on Good Friday. It did not happen on Easter Sunday. The event that led to Isa being lifted into the heavens occurred on this very night, brothers and sisters. وَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ نَحْتَسِبُ عَزَانَا فِي أَمِيرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Imam al-Hasan said that our consolation is in the hands of God and God alone. This tragedy is too much to bear, but we ask God to reward us for the pain and suffering. وَلَقَدْ أُصِيبَ بِهِ الشَّرْقُ وَالْغَارِبُ. Both the East and the West are now grieving for him. وَاللَّهِ مَا خَلَّفَ دِرْهَمًا وَلَا دِينَارًا. He said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, by God, didn't leave any money in this world. He had little possessions of this world. إِلَّا 400 dirham, except 40 coins. أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْتَاعَ لِأَهْلِهِ خَادِمًا. And he had saved that money so that he could get someone to help around the house and help his family. Amir al-Mu'mineen himself, brothers and sisters, if anyone knew him, it was Imam al-Hasan al-Mujtaba. If anyone knew him, it was his son Imam al-Hussein. It was his family. It was his close circle of friends and companions. No one can truly grasp the grandeur of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He himself says, listen to the statement by the Imam. He says, غَدًا تَرَوْنَ أَيَّامِي وَيَكْشِفُ لَكُمْ عَنْ سَرَائِرِ. He said, today you can't know Ali, you can't recognize him, you can't truly appreciate him. But tomorrow, and after the passage of many years and decades and centuries, the days will reveal to you who I am. They will reveal my secrets to you. وَتَعْرِفُونَنِي بَعْدَ خُلُوِّ مَكَانِ. And you will know me only after you have lost me. And what a loss this is. The loss of Amir al-Mu'mineen is the greatest loss after Rasulullah. وَقِيَامِ غَيْرِ مَقَامِ. He said, after someone has replaced me, after you have tasted other rulers, after you have seen other leaders, after you have experienced the reign of kings and queens and emperors and presidents and prime ministers and whatnot, only then will you recognize who Ali was. Only then you will begin to appreciate who Ali was. My dear brothers and sisters, when it comes to the commander of the faithful, we have at least 3 primary duties towards him. The first is that we get to know him. We try and get a better sense of who Ali really was. And to do that, first of all, we must do this as followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib. To simply admire Ali is something that's not unique to us. Everyone admires Ali. Christians admire Ali. Zoroastrians in Iran admire Ali. People who are not Muslim in Lebanon and Egypt and Jordan admire Ali. Anyone who gets a taste of Ali ibn Abi Talib and learns a little bit about him will admire him. And so that's just not enough. As followers of the Ahlul Bayt, as people who profess the leadership of Ali ibn Abi Talib, that is just not nearly enough. We need to get to know him. That is our first responsibility. And primarily, the reason we must try and explore who Ali ibn Abi Talib truly was is so that nothing separates us from him. Because the challenges that existed in the time of Ali continue to this very day. The temptations, the desires, the discord, the deceptions, the lies, and all of the challenges that separated people in the time of Ali from him, they exist to this very day. If we don't truly know who he was, then we are at risk, at a very grave risk, of being separated from him when those challenges resurface and when the horns of the devil present themselves once again. Let's get to know who Ali was, just like some of his companions, just like the people who were willing to sacrifice their lives for Ali. They knew him. Maytham knew who Ali was. Malik al-Ashtar knew who Ali was. Uday ibn Hatim knew who Ali was. Amr ibn al-Hamiq al-Khuza'i knew who Ali was. All of these people had gotten a taste of the sweet nectar of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And so nothing could separate them from him. Not even death could separate them. Wasn't Maytham brought to the crucifix and told that we're going to kill you unless you speak of the vices of Ali, you curse Ali? He said, fine, put me on the crucifix. Put me on the crucifix. They thought that he was actually going to get up there, and in an attempt to save his life, he was going to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib, but he used the crucifix. He used the cross as a pulpit, as a platform to get everybody's attention and to then begin to sing the praises of his master, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, alayhi salawatullah wal malaika wal nas ajma'een. Let's get to know Ali so that nothing and no one can separate us from the very source of goodness and virtue that was Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. The second important duty that we have towards the Imam is that we introduce him to other people. Brothers and sisters, you and I cannot thank God enough for bringing us into being in a family, an environment, a country where people love Amirul Mu'mineen, where the love of Ali comes naturally to them. And that is part of the reason why I especially advise my young brothers and sisters to go and kiss the feet of their fathers and their mothers. Kiss their feet and say, thank you for bringing me to the doorstep of Ali ibn Abi Talib, for feeding me, nursing me since I was an infant with the love of Ali, for introducing me to the family of Ali. We're lucky that you're born as a Shia, as a follower of Amirul Mu'mineen. But now that also comes with its massive responsibility, which is to pay it forward, to preach the message, and to introduce the world to the love of Amirul Mu'mineen. We cannot allow ourselves, it is forbidden for all of us to deprive other people of the gem that is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Let's introduce him to others all over the world. And finally, brothers and sisters, you should know that when people get to know Ali, their religiosity is boosted, their morality is boosted, their love of virtue is boosted. And the farther away we are from Amirul Mu'mineen, the less intense those virtues are. And we become prey and vulnerable to predators of religion, to imposters who wear the garb of faith and attempt to steal us from the love of Amirul Mu'mineen. As I said, when you see a community that is close to Ali, that loves Ali with greater valor and passion, that community is always closer to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is satisfied with, to what Allah accepts from us as human beings. And that is why Ali ibn Abi Talib, the reason for that is because when you examine his life, and we don't have time to discuss this, but when you look at his life, all you see is virtue. All you see is devotion to God. All you see is a man who is so devoted to his Creator that at night he stands there and he's shivering and shaking from the fear of the Almighty, from the fear of the inferno. He shakes and shakes until one man says that I saw him praying to God, supplicating, invocating, and then all of a sudden he shook so hard that he fell to the ground. He said, I went to him, I thought he had fallen unconscious. I shook him, but he was so hard and cold, I thought he had died. I ran home, I told his wife, Fatima Zahra, Ya bint Rasulullah, I just saw Ali fall in the middle of the farm and he's dead now. She said, no, that is what happens to him every single night. He's only unconscious. Go and awaken him. You see Ali ibn Abi Talib like this at night in his worship. And then in the daytime, Amirul Mu'mineen is walking in the marketplace, looking for someone who might need help, looking for someone who has a question that needs to be answered, devoted himself for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this extent. I'll just mention this story and bid you farewell, inshaAllah. Amirul Mu'mineen, one day he's in the marketplace. This woman comes up to him. She says to him, Ya Amirul Mu'mineen, you are the leader, you are the ruler, and yet you're so accessible, subhanallah. But, oh Commander of the Faithful, I have a problem. My husband threw me out of the house. She was the victim of what we would call today domestic abuse. My husband threw me out and he's not letting me go back home. I don't know what's going on. The Imam said, let's go together to your house. Now imagine someone at that position to avail himself to just a random woman who's looking for help. Amir al-Mu'mineen goes with this woman. He goes to her home. They knock on the door. Her husband comes outside. He doesn't recognize Amir al-Mu'mineen. The Imam said to him, listen, this woman is your wife. Don't mistreat her. Don't oppress her. Let her back into the house. What are you doing throwing her outside the home? The man said to him, who are you to intervene in my family life? Who are you to intervene in my marriage? The Imam said to him, look, I will not allow you to oppress someone unjustifiably. So the man then pushed Amirul Mu'mineen. He put his hand on his chest and pushed him away. Allahu Akbar. Imagine had this been anybody else. When this happened, people gathered around. They realized there's a scuffle. Someone is being pushed around. They gathered immediately. Those who knew the Imam, they recognized him. They said to the man, woe unto you. Who do you think you are pushing Ali ibn Abi Talib? Do you know who Ali is? This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is Qa'id al-Ghurr al-Muhajjalin. This is Asadullah al-Ghalib. This is the one that killed the most savage, the most brutal, the most vicious tyrants of the Arabs. This is the one who killed Amr ibn Wadd al-Amiri when he was only 27 years old. Do you know what you're doing? You just signed your death sentence. So the man began pleading with Amir al-Mu'mineen. U'dhurni ya mawlai, i'fini ya mawlai. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. Please don't have me beheaded. Please don't kill me. The Imam said to him, look, I'm not going to do anything to you as long as you promise not to oppress this poor woman. She's helpless. She has no one to help her. Don't do this to her again. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Sallallahu alayk ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. I will conclude with this, brothers and sisters. On such a critical night, when the world lost the greatest gem it ever knew, when they brought Amir al-Mu'mineen back from the masjid, the Imam's head was cracked open such that historians say that the sword had reached the area where you would ordinarily prostrate. You see where you put your forehead on the ground? The sword had reached this area. So Ali ibn Abi Talib couldn't walk. For the first time in his life, Amir al-Mu'mineen was helpless. And so his son Hassan held him from under his armpit, and Imam al-Hussein came from the other side, and they carried Amir al-Mu'mineen toward his home. Before they reached the house, Amir al-Mu'mineen said to Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, I ask you to leave me now. Let me walk by myself. Why? Amir al-Mu'mineen said, because I know Zainab will be waiting for me. Remember, Amir al-Mu'mineen was a guest at the house of his daughter Zainab on the night he left for the masjid. She was the one who prepared the iftar for him. She was the one who spent the night with him. And so the Imam knew that Zainab was going to wait in anticipation of her father's arrival. So the Imam said, I don't want Zainab to see me being carried. So let me walk, because Ali cannot bear Zainab being heartbroken. Zainab seeing her father unable to walk, being carried. That's how sensitive Ali was with reference to his daughter Zainab. And even his children inherited this quality. Imam al-Hassan famously, when his brother Hussein came to him, there was a bowl in which the Imam was throwing up chunks of his liver from the effects of the poison, the lethal poison that killed him. There was that bowl, and the Imam's insides were being poured into it. As soon as the door was knocked, and they heard that it was Zainab, Imam al-Hassan also told his brother Hussein, Akhi, remove this bowl. I don't want our sister to see this sight before her, knowing that her brother is going to die, just like Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now I say, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, and Ya Aba Muhammad, Ya Imam al-Hassan, you were so careful not to expose your vulnerabilities to your daughter, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, and to your sister, Ya Imam al-Hassan, out of sensitivity that her heart might break. I ask you, what would you do if you saw Zainab on the plains of Karbala on the day of Ashura, when she ascended that hill? She stood there and she saw her brother Aba Abdullah on the plains of Karbala, and Shimr ibn Dhil Jawshan proceeding towards him, taking step after step with his dagger drawn. فوضعت عشرها على رأسيها. Zainab put her two hands over her head and she cried out, ليت السماء أطبقت على الأرض. May the heavens fall onto the ground. ليت الموت أعدمني الحياة. May death come and strip me of my life. What did Zainab see on that day? What happened to keeping Zainab safe from these scenes? Oh, Shimr ibn Dhil Jawshan, may Allah curse you. Oh, Umar ibn Sa'd, may Allah damn you. Zainab saw her brother Aba Abdullah with Shimr seated on his chest. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. إلهنا سيدنا مولانا بأمير المؤمنين بأبي الحسن علي بن أبي طالب، يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن أبي طالب، يا أمير المؤمنين، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. Say this statement, read it out loud with me, wherever you are. يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. May Allah bless you all. I beg for you to all pray for me as I will pray for you, inshallah, on this special night. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.